This is Brent, president of B2C Fitness, and we're talking about posterior oblique subsystem integration. Now your posterior oblique subsystem is your glute, thoracolumbar fascia, and opposite latissimus dorsi. It is one of the group of muscles surrounding our core that works synergistically, in this case to help us pull back and support our posterior kinetic chain, transfer force between our lower and upper halves, as well as what I'll call turn out our kinetic chain. Now this is a good place for us to start our integrated exercise. Number one, by nature, all integrated exercises are going to include movements for both the lower and upper halves. The posterior oblique subsystem is what we could term the almost always underactive subsystem, whether it is upper body dysfunction, excessive forward lean, and anterior pelvic tilt, or lower leg dysfunction. The posterior oblique subsystem is underactive. We're going to find that also it's an easier integrated movement to teach, so it's a very good starting point for our routines, for our clients, to get introduced to integrated exercise. I'm going to have my friend Salvi come out and help me demonstrate this first posterior oblique subsystem exercise. Now Salvi has lower leg dysfunction. In lower leg dysfunction, the posterior oblique subsystem is weak. Once again, just to give you guys a visual here, we're going to work the muscles of the lats, thoracolumbar fascia, and glutes. In this case, what we're going to do is simply a squat to row. So I'm going to have Salvi grab a couple of resistant bands we got going here. And it's fairly significant. Now, when I did the overhead squat assessment with Salvi, one thing that she did was lean forward excessively, as well as had her feet turned out. Just the fact that we have a counterbalance, she can now lean back, reducing her need for dorsiflexion. So if you just squat, don't squat to row, you can see, good, and back up. Squat normally, sit back, relax, good. Good, you can see that just having this counterbalance fixes her tibia torso angle so that it is once again parallel. So we can start right here, just have Salvi squat a few times, go ahead and go back up. Make sure she's thrusting forward at the hips and squeezing her glutes. Good, make sure you thrust forward, squeezing the glutes. Now we can go for more of that integrated subsystem. So the other muscle that we want to work is our lats. A great way to do that is a row. So now I'm going to have Salvi go down into a squat. She's going to squat up, make sure her glutes are squeezed, she's nice and tight, and then she's just going to go into a row, squeezing her shoulder blades down and back. Good. Let her arms out. Good. And back. Good. Up. Squeeze your glutes. And row. Now as Salvi gets better at this, she starts understanding how to squeeze her glutes and thrust her hips forward, how to lean back, how to stay stable here. She's got the row down and she's squeezing her shoulder blades down and back. We don't see any excessive elevation up here. I can have Salvi do the squat and row at the same time. So she's going to go down into a squat and then up and row. Good. One more time, Salvi. This time let's have you make sure that you tuck under just a little bit. So up, tuck your tailbone, squeeze, make sure you extend all the way out. Good. One more time. So guys, that posterior pelvic tilt will help increase gluteus maximus activation, which is one of the underactive muscles when the subsystem becomes underactive. Good. Sometimes what helps is I have people pretend like they're pulling a truck so that they get that leaned back rather than this forward and kind of anterior pelvic tilted position. Let's have you do one more. Oop. Make sure, go ahead and let the band go. Good. Squat down first. Good. And then up and pull. Good. So the progressions there, guys, is you could just start somebody with a squat holding onto the band. Then you could have somebody squat, stabilize, then row. And then have them squat to row at the same time. In future videos, we're going to go ahead and talk about progressions, as well as how this is a preliminary exercise for some of the larger power movements that we're going to do later. So once again, guys, this was posterior oblique subsystem integration, the almost always underactive system, and this would be the first integrated exercise we'd throw in somebody's corrective exercise routine to help improve their dysfunction by increasing the activity of those integrated core subsystems. Thank you.